This is a pipe carved out of briar wood with a long stem. It's called a mini church warden for those that don't know these kind of pipes. It's kind of fun. I like it a little bit longer because it keeps the flame further away from my face. But in the pipe smoking world, there's a concept called ghosting, which means that if you have a very strong tobacco that you smoke in a pipe, and you put the pipe down, pick it up a couple days later and put, let's say you're trying an English blend one night. It's very strong, very smoky, very manly. It's not a really publicly acceptable pipe tobacco in the sense that people aren't going to stop you and say, ooh, that smells good. Because to the average nose, it probably smells like manure or something just burned. But to the pipe smoker, we like those. But you put the pipe down, you pick it up a couple days later, and let's say you put like a vanilla or cherry tobacco in, and you smoke the pipe. But you're getting the ghosting of the past tobacco, the strong stench, and it's not as pleasurable. Hence the phrase ghosting. The ghosts of tobacco past are haunting this pipe. This is why many pipers, guys that enjoy pipes and pipe tobacco, and this is one of the reasons why I love the piping world, is there's so many parallels to life. Many guys and gals will dedicate a pipe to certain tobaccos. I have pipes for English blends. I have pipes for cherry blends. I have pipes for Virginias. I have corncob pipes dedicated to burley tobacco and Virginia burley mixtures and blends. And what happens is I never get the taste or smell of a previous tobacco in a pipe that I'm smoking. Now this one here is dedicated to cherry and vanilla. So those two flavors kind of go together. So whenever I smoke anything in this, it's always aromatic, and it's kind of like my ride home from work pipe. Now in relationships, there's ghosting as well, which means that you are dating somebody or you married somebody and there's ghosting going on. Their reactions to you are from not your actions, but from the actions of someone in their past. Bad relationships, 50% of the reason for bad relationships is ghosting, because people were not single long enough in between, and then the new person inherited the issues of the other person. Years ago, I was with a woman, and whenever we were together and intimate, she would cry. And I'm like, God, am I that bad? But she was always mourning her marriage. And I'm like, what in the world? Well, I can tell you right now that didn't last very long, because I had nothing to do with that. And my calling in life is not to heal people. And if you're that kind of person, you need to get out and stop. All right? Stop taking little wet, cold puppy dogs that show up at your door and rescuing them. You're not in the rescuing business. This is what I want you to be. I want you to be a ghostbuster, a ghost detector. I want you to take a look at your relationships. Think about it. Take a look at your relationships and times when you've said something and the other person just went off, just like flew off the handle. And you're like, okay, where did that come from? Did you ever say that? Where did that come from? I certainly didn't cause that. The reality is they are living in the past. And because you are now hooked up with them, it's now your problem. When you date or marry, do not make other people's problems your problem. It is better to be single and wish you were married than to be married and wish you were single. I urge you to be a ghost detector. Don't be afraid to be alone. Do not be afraid to be alone. Now, if finances are involved and if you're living with somebody and you need those finances, make a plan. Don't be impulsive and put yourself out financially and in danger. Make a plan and then get out. And then and then enjoy being single. Now, if you're hooked up or married, I am not an advocate of divorce. Divorce hurts people, it hurts children. But if you made the wrong decision, I am not for staying together for peace or staying together for the children, which is nonsense. It's actually proven to hurt children if you have kids. If you're a man or a woman, plan your getaway. And I'm not talking about being sneaky, deceptive. I'm talking about using your head. If you're a man, use this, not this. Use your head. But she's sexy, she's beautiful, I'll never find a woman like that. Here's my look. Really? Dude. One word, dude. If you're a woman, but he makes so much money, I'd never be able to have this kind of lifestyle. He has such a great job, he's so stable. Here's my word, dude. Really? You know you'll be happier. This is what happens when you're a ghost detector. You detect the ghosts, you decide, you're decisive. We talked about decisiveness. You're decisive. You want out, you make a plan, you plan your getaway, you get out. And then, you start to live on your own. You discover your own tastes, your own movies, your own books, your own music. You become your own person rather than a joint effort in life. And this is what happens then. All of a sudden, clarity happens. It's like someone who stops using alcohol and drugs. They're no longer going through withdrawal. They're no longer jonesing for the substance, and they live free. And they can have a day without any kind of drug or alcohol use. Now, how interesting is that? Equating relationships to drugs. You start developing clarity, and your decisions are not clouded by your need to be with somebody or your hormonal response. Take care of that yourself. You know what I'm talking about. You don't need to be with someone because of your hormones. Let's get real, okay? It's about time somebody gets real on that. So here's the deal. Imagine being able to choose a person with your mind clear. There's clarity. There's nothing clouded. You're not operating by hormones. You're not operating by visual lust. It's almost like a business decision. It makes sense. Now love doesn't always make sense on paper. Granted, love isn't always, I contend that love is a commitment and there's joy in commitment. But that commitment comes after you've been through some things together. That's what I believe. So love doesn't always make sense. You know, I know women just constantly attract the wrong guy. One wrong guy after another. Well, I used to say, well, that's like, where do you meet these guys? And she's like, biker bars. Well, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I go to biker bars and I see nothing but gentlemen there. And I'm a gentleman, and I don't hang out anywhere where there's nothing but gentlemen. I was at one of my favorite little joints, and a gal looked around, saw nothing but beards and long hair and tattoos and leather and boots. And she says, I don't feel very safe here. And my response was, honey, you're probably safer here than anywhere in the city. If anyone ever disrespected a woman in the place that I go to, they would be, how can I put it? Let me put it this way. They would be escorted out the back door by members of the community. Let me put it that way. How's that sound? Isn't that a nice way to put it? So there's nothing but respect. And there are some quote-unquote bad boys where I hang out. But deep inside, they're good boys. I know, because they sit in my chair. I cut their hair. I trim their beards. Every last one. Every last one. I may not agree with all their choices. I might not agree with their language. But I look past that, and I can clearly and confidently say everyone is a gentleman. The toughest guys that I know, and I'm talking about not just physically tough, but I'm talking like badass dudes, get greeted with a hug. And I'm not really a huggy guy. I'm kind of like a half hug, like a bro hug kind of guy. But you know what? I'm cool with that. That's all right. Be a ghost detector. Do not be haunted by someone else's ghosts. And do not put yourself in a situation where you are exposing someone else to your ghosts. If you jump from one relationship to another, you're offering a broken person to the other person, a person who's not whole, and vice versa. If you go out with someone who is just out of a long relationship or a marriage, I guarantee you, you are the transition person. It is temporary. There is an expiration date on that relationship. Oh, we moved in already. We share expenses. Expiration date. It's going to end. Maybe not now, but it will. And it won't end easy. I've seen it happen more times than I actually lost track of how many times that I've seen that happen. Never put yourself in a situation where you are vulnerable. Heart, financially, emotionally. Don't do it. Be a ghost detector. And be like the pipe smokers. Don't let the ghosts of a previous smoke affect the pleasure that you have now. Take that to heart.